Okay, let's get started, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Mr. Lester's a little bit under the weather, so he's with us here on speaker. And Mr. Pat, he's a little bit under the weather too, so we want to wish him healthy. And so let's go ahead and stand for the prayer. Mr. DeVilliers is going to say a quick prayer, and then we're going to do the pledge of allegiance under the flag.
Heavenly Father, we come together today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion and allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of the community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. DeVillio, good job.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right. So tonight's agenda is June 28th before us. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, the chair moves that the agenda be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay, next on the agenda is the minutes from June 14th. The council has the minutes before them and took a look at it. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, the chair moves that the minutes be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay, next up is going to be the disbursements of June 21st and the 28th. We've had a chance to review the disbursements. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the disbursements? Okay. Hearing none, the chair moves that the disbursements be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. All right. So next on the agenda is the Talbot County Schools. Miss Sarah, do you want to come on up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm coming tonight to request approval by the county council for category transfers within our 2022 budget.
Actually, can I stop a second?
Sure.
I see something in the minutes that has me voting an aye, and I wasn't here on that date, on the county manager report, item 10.
Okay.
Callahan, Delia, Lesher. That should be Mr. Pack, I believe, rather than me.
Okay.
I don't think I popped in for 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Other than that, thank you.
Okay. No
Sorry
problem.
about that, Sarah.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yep. No problem.
What we're requesting is to not change the overall amount of our budget. We just want to make a few category transfers. We had some unexpected expenses in our special education category. We had a legal settlement to the tune of close to $150,000 that caused us to be overspent there. We had in fixed charges, part of the way we balanced or got to the same number as our appropriation from the county council and reduced our original request to the council was to prepay or plan to prepay what we would have normally paid toward OPEB in FY23. So that is driving up our fixed charges for this year, should we get approval. We also do have additional health insurance cost this year. And finally, in the transportation department, we also were hoping to prepay some of our bus leases that we would normally be paying next year. And again, that's sort of how we balanced the FY23 budget and got things in line with the appropriation. So we had some savings in some other categories due to vacancies primarily. Yeah, I think that's really it, primarily due to vacancies. Under operation of plant, we didn't spend as much, just it was a mild year. We had some savings in some of our utilities cost and our snow removal cost, a few different categories that kind of added up to that $300,000 savings there. So we're requesting a net zero transfer by transferring money out of the three categories. I guess you guys don't have, you have it in Granicus, but by transferring money out of mid-level administration, instructional salaries, and operation of plant, and transferring those funds among special education, transportation, and fixed charges.
I have a question about your, the OPEB. So you are or are not going to be doing infusion of cash into OPEB?
So in FY22, we have already done our FY22 infusion, and we had wanted to do one in FY23, but we took it out of our budget. So it is not in our FY23.
What was that amount?
200,000 as well.
So my question to you is, rather than prepay bus leases, because we know how far behind the OPEB is, my question is why, because that's going to be part of a regular ongoing thing with the bus leases, pretty consistent from year to year, and rather than eliminate the OPEB, which is really important, what did you consider that, or I'm sure you considered it, but I would like you to consider the OPEB as opposed to prepaying bus leases?
So this transfer includes both, and so it includes paying off 2 of our older leases, so it would eliminate 2 leases. So at this point, we would be only obligated to the leases we purchased in FY22, the leases that we will be entering into for FY23, and 1 lease that I think maybe is from FY21. So all of our other leases would be paid off under this scenario. And we would be putting in $200,000 into OPEB.
Oh, so you are.
Yes, so this would incorporate in putting $200,000 into OPEB, but this year, not next
Of
year.
course, it's what, it's what, 60, 70, 80, it's gotten, or.
It's large. It's over 100 million. Our obligation,
So,
exactly.
again, these little chunks of 200,000 aren't going to go far, you know.
No.
We need to do bigger chunks, you know, than
We'll-
that.
We will put bigger chunks in our budget request for next year. That's a great idea. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, we need to put in there. The actuary tells me, what we're doing is we're funding our current obligation every year. We're paying our current, but we're not building. I mean, we're building, but very slowly toward our ultimate
Right, and it's a
obligation.
line item on an audit or whatever that we probably will always be paying, just the county does the same thing.
Right.
You know, we pay PAYGO and
Right.
all that. So, you know, should you take every extra bit that's left over at the end of the year, if you haven't used up all those budget categories, and put it into OPEB rather than, you know, prepaying things for next year? Maybe.
And that's a great point. I mean, if we, this budget transfer request assumes that we will still have a little bit of money left over. I mean, I've got to leave myself a little bit of cushion so that those final bills that are coming in July and August, that you know, sometimes, you know, you never know what they're going to be. So this leaves me the cushion in case anything unusual comes up. We should have a little bit of our money left over, I think under $300,000. I mean, for a $60 million budget, so it's like 0.4% or something.
Right.
But come August, I mean, we could always come back to you and say, we'd like to put another, you know, $200,000 or $300,000 toward OPEB.
Right.
That might be a
I
really
think
good.
that's just a good rule of thumb that
Right.
when you have you know, when you underspend in certain areas for whatever reason, just kind of have it in your mind, that should go to OPEB,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we may be back in August.
The instructional salary, so are there positions that you just are having a hard time filling, or?
There were some vacancies. I mean, we had an art, yes, there are some more specialized teaching, like there was an art teacher position at White Marsh that was open most of the year, I think all of the year. I don't have a list of all those certified positions.
It's the
but-
same situation everybody's having. You're trying to find, you're just having the difficulty finding the people specialized.
Exactly, and it's, you know, exactly. So there's some vacancies, or someone leaves in the middle of the year, and, yeah, so.
Any other questions, council? Okay, so, is there a motion to go ahead and, transfer this, let them transfer this?
I'll make a motion that we approve the categorical requests as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank
Sarah.
you.
I appreciate it. Okay, next up is Introduction of legislation. Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and read the bill into the record, please?
A bill to authorize Talbot County, Maryland, the county, to borrow not more than $24,900,000 in order to finance and refinance A, the acquisition, renovation, and/or construction of a Talbot County Public Safety Building, and B, the acquisition, renovation, and/or construction of a Talbot County Health Department facility, and to effect such borrowing by the issuance and sale of one or more series of its general obligation bonds payable from ad valorem taxes to be levied by the county, exempting the bonds from the provisions of sections 19-205 and 19-206 of the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, authorizing the consolidation of separate series of bonds into one or more bonds, authorizing the refunding of such bonds, and relating generally to the issuance and sale of such bonds for such purposes.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. You want to come on up, Ken, and Ms. Lane?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
This bill is a bill to authorize the county to borrow up to $24,900,000 effectively to fund two capital projects, one being the Public Safety Center and the other being a new health department facility. Both these projects are included in the fiscal 23 budget, as well as the Public Safety Center, which was also in the fiscal 22 budget. So this is this legislation is required under our charter. Under Section 612, Section D of the charter, any borrowing to finance capital projects must have its own separate legislation, and that's what this bill is doing.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. Ken? Good?
She captured it perfectly.
Okay, that's good. All right, then, so, raise your hands. We don't introduce it. Raise your hands. Introduction.
Pete's on the phone.
Yeah, Mr. Lesher, do you wish to introduce?
I will join on introduction, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it's introduced by Mr. Callahan, Mr. Lesher, Ms. Price, and Mr. DeVillio.
Correct.
This will be known as Bill number 1522, and the public hearing will be on July 26th, I believe.
Okay.
So I have a question though. So we're getting ready to go into public hearings for a whole bunch of capital projects. And Bills 1511 and 1514 are the health department facility and the public safety center. So how is this different?
Capital enabling legislation can be subject to referendum by the citizens. Bond legislation or any bill to authorize borrowing cannot be sent to referendum by the citizens, which is why they're two separate bills. So if for some reason our citizens challenge one of these facilities, we would just adjust the amount of the borrowing. I mean, we don't expect that to happen, but that's the reasoning why this is a separate bill. It cannot be challenged. No borrowing bill can be challenged. Only the bill that authorizes the project can be challenged.
All right, thank
So
you.
that's-
Because that might
that's
be that was a little confusing to me and might be a little confusing to the public going,
Yeah,
wait,
and
we're
that-
about
that's
ready
in
to
our
do public
charter.
hearings on that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna sit here for the next round. At least it's
Okay.
somebody.
Are we good? Are we good with that?
Yep, so the
Okay,
public
good.
hearing will be on the 26th at 6:30 in this room.
Okay. All righty then. Okay. Next up, we want to start the public hearing.
Well, it's 6:16,
we're
so I
early.
guess we
We're
cannot do
early.
that.
Are we early?
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Let's see here. You want to?
I do see Mr. Smith in the back.
Yeah.
Would you like to skip down?
Yeah. Let's
go ahead and
jump.
text him on this.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. I think you were up first, Zach, to tell you the truth. Yep. You want to come on up?
Good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Go Go ahead.
Yep,
Floor is
yep,
mine.
absolutely. Floor is yours.
Thank you.
Yep.
For the record, Zach Smith on behalf of Jerry and Susan Davis. And we're here with a proposed text amendment and asking the council to introduce that text amendment this evening to allow it to go through your process. If it's introduced, it will go on to the Planning Commission for recommendation and then come back to the council for a public hearing. And specifically, what we're asking for the council to consider is expanding the authority of the Board of Appeals to consider reasonable expansions of legal nonconforming uses. Currently, any expansion of a legal nonconforming use requires the Board of Appeals to review and approve that. And currently, their authority to do so is limited to an expansion of no more than 20%. And my clients, Jerry and Susan Davis, have a relatively small commercial building, and they would like to propose a reasonable expansion of that building, but under this limitation, they cannot do so. So they can't bring it forward to be considered. And so this text, if adopted, would allow the board the authority to consider an expansion of up to the greater of 20% of the existing floor area or 3,000 square feet. If that was adopted, then Jerry and Susan could present a plan to the board. They will have no right to expand their legal nonconforming use without the Board of Appeals review and approval. That's obviously a very public process, and we think provides an important safeguard for the community, because we recognize this amendment will not just impact their property, but any other legal nonconforming use.
Right. Okay.
How large is your property currently?
The property is 2¼ acres.
No, I'm sorry, so it's the gross floor area, I guess is my question. How many square feet?
The building now,
Mhm.
it's about 3,000 square feet.
Okay, so if it says the greater of, so this could double it then. So if yours is
Yeah, it could.
3,000, so 20% of that is 500 or
Yeah, it's
600
only
or whatever.
Right.
So
That's the
this
thing.
could double.
Correct.
We could
That size.
propose a doubling of it.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with, or 3,000 square feet? I mean, I guess the text amendment, right, so that would suit your purposes to get to, what, close to 6,000 square
Yes.
square feet.
Mhm.
But is that the right number? You know, I understand the greater of 20% or, so who else did you talk to anybody else, Zach, or, you know, as far as getting some feedback on what would be that appropriate amount? Should it have been 1,500? Should it have been 2,000? Should it be 5,000? That plug number works for you, but is that going to be the right plug number for the county as a whole?
I did speak to Mr. Salinas about this before he departed the county. And in fact, you know, I don't want to speak for him, but he was supportive of this kind of change. Again, not to give property owners the right to do things
course,
on
I
their own
understand that
accord,
part.
but to give the county the authority to consider reasonable expansions. And I think that's, the discussion we talked about would give the board, wouldn't have a limitation. The board could consider any expansion. That never came into text. When we proposed it, when we proposed our own standalone bill, we wanted to propose a very narrow proposal, so that's why we limited it to 3,000 square feet. We thought that will accommodate expansions of relatively small buildings, which I think is the issue that Jerry's identified, because we think 20% expansion of larger buildings may be economically feasible in and of themselves. It's particularly focused on these relatively smaller buildings. And so, I mean, really where we came up with that number is that's the size addition that Jerry wants to propose. I did discuss that with Miguel. I haven't discussed it with others.
Right, because if someone's got a 1,000 square foot building right now, and you said that you can add 3,000 to it, that's probably, you know, again, I understand it goes to the Board of Appeals, so that's, you know, obviously this needs to go through a process, but that's, I think, one of the questions that we need to figure out if that's the right number. I mean, if somebody had 1,000 square feet, you might have to have something in there that says no more than double, right? You wouldn't want to go from 1,000 to 4,000.
Sure.
So maybe something else needs to go in there saying, you know, 20% or double, not to exceed 3,000 square feet or whatever that right number is in order to stay something that resembles the neighborhood or the zoning or whatever that it's in. See what I'm saying? So for you, doubling it works.
But also the Board of Appeals has that right to limit the size of whatever it is. So I mean, if the Board of Appeals looks and says, okay, you're 1,000 and you're going to go to 3,000, you know, does it equate? And the other thing is it applicable for that parcel or area or zoning that it's actually in? My problem is that back in 1994, a storage facility was allowed in a village center, and it was changed in 2018. Not with me not knowing about it. I've basically found out about it. I've been going through this whole process. I know Chuck knows that, we had joined the two pieces of property together. We had to get rid of a road that was encroaching into the property that the county that so-called owned, and we got that squared away. That took over a year. And then I've been dealing with the health department, and then I dealt with the county. And then what brought it to a head was that we actually tried to apply for a building permit, and then it was brought up to us that under a village hamlet, a storage facility is not allowed at all. So we have no rights at all except that 20%. We couldn't even go to a Board of Appeals and say, hey, look, we're in there, we're doing this. And one of the things I feel is that it sort of created a problem in that we had the storage facility there. It's in an area that has already been commercial for a fair amount of time. It's not new, and there's been no complaints about excessive traffic or how it's been kept. Matter of fact, we're right next to Daffin's Marine, and if you look at our facility, the grass has been cut, it's been manicured, it's
Right,
been
no,
cleaned.
I'm not saying about yours. I'm just saying, I want the text amendment to be right to fit other people besides you. So, to look at that. So, but once something's in there, 3,000 square feet, and if somebody was, like said, at 1,000, they're gonna go, well, yeah, but it says 3,000, and so the Board of Appeals may have a challenge. So I just think that just looking at that, we need to figure out, maybe there needs to be another level in there, not more than, doubling of your current square footage or something like that, that doesn't like automatically read, oh yeah, I can add 3,000 square feet to a 500 square foot building.
I guess
So-
sort of what I was thinking was, so if we bring this forward, it goes to the planning commission for them to discuss.
Right.
And they're the ones who are seeing all these applications. They would have a better idea of what the square footage application, what their average is, what they're seeing. And I was looking forward to their kind of recommendation. Because I was thinking about that as well. Because that's tiny. A lot of these storage units in Easton, around Easton proper, are like 60,000 square feet. So,
Right.
yours, that is a
Tiny.
tiny one compared
And-
to it. So I was a little skeptical there too, but I was interested in seeing what they come back with. And I'm glad that we're bringing this up, so hopefully they hear it and address those concerns
Right,
as
so
well.
I just want, pass that
Yeah.
thought along to, when we send it to the planning commission, to look at whether that line is correct. I think it's probably perfectly appropriate for you, but
Yes.
again, you don't want to create legislation that only works for one person.
Well, the thing is, it's going to go through that process because it's got to go through the planning commission and they have to make recommendations, so that would be.
Sure, I'm just thinking about the next person down the road if the language is
Well,
correct.
wouldn't they make an amendment to the bill here?
Yes.
Based on
Yeah,
what
that's
you're
right.
saying?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Because we wouldn't have that information
No,
to
of course
know.
not.
Yeah.
Right.
So we appreciate the suggestion, and we'll
Yep.
talk to the planning commission and staff about it. Hopefully by the
Absolutely.
time it gets back, we'll have
A
that
good
yeah,
bill.
input on it.
Absolutely.
So we're just trying to kill 15 minutes, that's all.
So what you all will get back is a bill for introduction that reflects the planning commission's recommendation. So this is just an initial step in a
Right, but when you
lengthy
speak to
process.
them, obviously let them review this little
Yep.
5 or 7 minute dialogue.
With Pete on the phone, do you want me to make a motion to bring this
Hey,
forward?
Pete, do you
I
want
have a
to
question.
say something?
I have a question for either staff or for the applicant.
Yeah.
We always have to write these things for, these bills for general applicability, but so as not to create a lot of unintended consequences where they're written for to meet a fairly narrow set of circumstances. In this case, a legal nonconformity within a commercial zone in certain village zones. So my question for either staff or applicant is, do we have a sense of how common this is? Is this a likely unique circumstance? Are there 50 of these around the county? Getting back to Laura's earlier question about, if we face this again, is the 3,000 the right number? Or is this such a narrow set of circumstances that we probably won't be dealing with this again?
Exactly.
Mr. Lesher, I don't know the exact number. I mean, this certainly isn't the only legal non-conforming use, and not just within your villages, because in 2018, when the county divided up the village zoning, and in the VR zone in particular, in the VH, eliminated a lot of permissible commercial uses, it created some nonconformities, and there are others in the county. And I know for myself, I've gone through this process to expand the Harbor Town Golf Course, for example, which is a legal nonconforming use. So there are other instances where property owners have a legal nonconformity and they want to propose expansions. I don't know the exact number, planning staff may, of how many exist out there, but it's certainly more than just this one instance.
And any sense from staff on this?
Staff is coming to the table.
I wouldn't say we have an exact number for you in calculation for the number of existing non-conforming uses within the county, because there probably is quite a few. I will say many times the pre-application meeting process, we do have applicants that come in with commercial projects or residential projects that have seen restrictions from this 20% threshold for the allowance for the expansion of their buildings. Oftentimes we have property owners with very constrained properties looking to expand their business, and with the 20% threshold, an allowance for a 2,000 square foot building being only 200 square feet is a very limiting factor for a lot of people, and would only accommodate maybe one additional room for, you know, an office space or something of that nature for a business. So Zach's proposal here would allow for some of those businesses some flexibility if they do have the extra space and lot coverage available on their properties to further expand some of those non-conforming businesses that either have existed there for a long period of time, or in this case for a short period of time due to a recent zoning change.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense. If you've got a 20,000 square foot building, then 20% probably makes sense. And I know that's what we were thinking when we did it, but with something smaller. So again, this text amendment may just need to be worded differently so that it takes into consideration something that's very small, and that something very small maybe gets a bigger percent. Maybe, you know, if you're up to, 3,000 square feet, you could go up 50%, right? But once you get more than 10,000 square feet, 20%. So I think I would like to see some of that stuff hashed out so that this works kind of for everybody, a sliding scale type of thing.
Certainly, and I think that's well heard and well received on our end, and I think we'll obviously have that discussion with the Planning Commission should this move forward to them. Having other parameters around a threshold based on site-specific instances that aren't necessarily germane to just this property.
And I appreciate the concept of starting small and then expanding and not overgrowth right out the gate and not knowing what will work. And so, yeah, I'm happy with it. So to get back, so would you like me to do a motion?
Well, we're just raise hands down.
Raise hands with
Pete
on voice. I'm good with that.
Right, this just sends it through to the Planning Commission
That's all it
to
does.
consider
Yep.
it.
Just
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have Mr. Callahan, Mr. DeVillio, and Ms. Price. Mr. Lesher?
I will join in introducing, yes.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Still a few minutes.
You want to do the next one? Yep.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, let's do it. Yep. How's it going?
Good, how are y'all this evening?
Good, good.
You gonna formally call this, or you want me to just get started?
You go ahead and jump right in there and tell us who you are.
Sure, Brendan Mullaney with McAllister, Detar, Showalter, and Walker. I'm appearing before you tonight on behalf of Will Workman and Rolles Range Partners LLC. Rolles Range Partners LLC is the owner of the George Brooks House at 24500 Rolles Range Road in St. Michael's. We appeared before you virtually a number of months ago now and discussed a text amendment to the bed and breakfast provisions that would allow bed and breakfast within the RC and the CP zoning districts to use up to 12 guest bedrooms, and among other things could have guest bedrooms and accessory structures. You voted to move that along to the Planning Commission for discussion and a recommendation back to you. We went before the Planning Commission. We had a lengthy discussion for an hour and 15 or an hour and 30 minutes, and they asked a number of questions related to the potential impacts of the bed and breakfast text amendment. Interestingly enough, their concern was that it was too limited, that it didn't impact enough properties, and that Right now, there's only one bed and breakfast within a historic structure, the way that we drafted the bed and breakfast text amendment. And they wanted to make sure that because there's an issue with the bed and breakfast industry in general for a variety of reasons, including VRBO and Airbnb, short-term rentals impacting traffic, frankly, that what they saw and recommended to you all had the intended effect, which is to preserve historic structures in the RC and CP zoning districts in the county. So what they asked staff to do was call some bed and breakfast owners and have some discussions with them, and also for the applicant to and staff to put forward a in-text amendment, because the in-use is something that I think they were more comfortable with, and it's something that the Planning Commission and the county have reviewed in the past, up to 12 bedrooms in the RC zoning district in particular. So we've drafted something that we'd like to take before the Planning Commission and then bring back to you in conjunction with the pending bed and breakfast text amendment, so that they can look at both side by side, have a discussion, and hash out, you know, what the best path forward is for the county. So this in-text amendment would allow inns in the CP and RC zoning districts. And the reason that we didn't go with this initially, we did have discussions with critical area before the bed and breakfast approach came before you the first time. The reason that we didn't go with this initially is because the in-use is not currently permitted in the CP and RC districts. Bed and breakfasts are, they're accessory in every zoning district. Critical Area Commission said whatever the county wants to do. I would say, I don't want to speak for them, but I would say that staff said whatever makes the most sense, let's defer to the council and the Planning Commission. Because bed and breakfasts are permitted in the RC and CP zoning districts, it likely would have been a minor critical area program amendment. The in approach is likely a major program amendment, which just means we go before the Critical Area Commission and revise the county's critical area program. But this in-text amendment would allow inns in the CP and RC zoning districts within structures that are located in the Historic Overlay District or listed on the Department of Interior National Register of Historic Places. It allows up to 12 guest rooms, and no more than 30 guests, which is consistent with the total guest number permitted in inns today. Must be located on parcels of land that are greater than 5 acres in size, and would allow a detached dwelling to serve the inn. Must be located in the CP district, so outside of the critical area, which was important for critical area. And these provisions are something that were largely incorporated in the bed and breakfast text amendment that you all already reviewed and recommended to pass forward for discussion to the Planning Commission.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
It currently is 10 guest rooms, and it just goes from 10 to 12,
Correct.
plus the other changes that are listed in E.
Correct.
So it's not a big increase in the number of rooms.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
One question. In what zone is he in now?
RC and CP. He has a split zone parcel that's partially within the critical area.
Yeah. Okay.
The structure itself, I believe, is mainly within the RC district, but is partially within the CP zone.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
CP is critical area?
It is not.
Okay, but you just said that he was partially in the critical area.
That's the RC zoning district. So his property is split zone CP and RC. The structure, he has a main inn and then accessory structures. The main structure is primarily within the critical area in the RC zoning district.
But the main structure is in the critical area.
It is. E5 is taken verbatim, I believe, from the bed and breakfast standards for special events. It would just allow historic structures that are utilized like this to get approvals for special events on site. And again, these are on larger parcels, 5 acres or greater.
And
So,
that language you said is is in our bed and breakfast, so they can have outdoor music up until 10 o'clock at night,
Yes, ma'am.
and it is limited to 6 days a year.
I believe that's right. I don't have those regulations in front of me, but my recollection is that just about the entirety of Section 5, E5, is verbatim from the bed and breakfast regulations.
Do you know the lot size for a bed and breakfast? Like this is saying 5 acres or more. Are there any bed and breakfasts that are on less than 5 acres?
I think, my guess is that most of them are on less than 5 acres, but I'm not sure of that, and I'm not aware of an acreage or parcel size restriction specific to bed and breakfast.
And are there any other historic inns you think that this would incorporate besides his?
I'm not aware of any in the county. We have the list of properties that are registered and in the historic overlay district. And I vetted that for the bed and breakfast side, but I haven't vetted that for the inside yet. So one thing that we'll present to the Planning Commission and then bring back before you, depending on what they recommend we move forward with, is that analysis of exactly how many properties it will impact if the inn approaches what they recommend to you all.
Okay. Ms. Price, you good?
For now.
Mr. Lesher?
Since this is in the historic overlay zone, do we get an opinion from the Historic Preservation Commission on this as well?
We don't have one to date, but I can certainly solicit one.
I think it feels appropriate in this case.
Understood.
Mr. DeVillio, you have anything? Okay. Council's feeling, want this to move forward? Raise your hands.
Just let them look at it.
We have Mr. Callahan, Mr. DeVillio, Ms. Price, Mr. Lesher.
I'll join.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
it. All right, just on time. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. All right, yeah. Angela and Ken, you want to come on back up? And we'll go ahead and get the public hearing started. I see the public out there.
You're mistaken.
Okay.
Next, we have 21 bills for public hearings. All of these bills are included in the fiscal 2023 capital budget.
Okay.
And again, our charter requires that each capital project has its own enabling legislation, which is why we have so many of these bills open for public hearing.
Okay, did we want to,
Yeah, we have to read them all in first.
Yep. Read them all in, or did we want to do 15 and 14 first? We talked
15.
about.
Well, I'll pull those out at the end for the
Okay.
third reader.
Okay, that's fine.
Right, so we'll
Okay.
have a public hearing on all of them.
And then start.
Then close it.
Then close it. Okay, just making sure.
And
Okay.
Lynn's going to testify on all 21 of them.
Yep, there we go.
Individually.
So I'll just start reading.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Yes, thank you, Madam Secretary.
Bill number 1501, a bill to amend Bill number 1474 to amend the appropriation for improvements to Airport Road. Bill number 1502, a bill to amend Bill number 1418 to amend the appropriation for a capital project for the connection of Bar Neck and Fairbank communities to the Region 5 Tillman wastewater treatment plant. Bill number 1503, a bill to authorize improvements to county bridges. Bill number 1504, a bill to amend Bill number 1478 to amend the appropriation for the expansion of broadband to unserved and underserved areas of Talbot County. Bill number 1505, a bill to authorize a study for the replacement of the 911 Division Computer-Aided Dispatch CAD system. Bill number 1506, a bill to authorize improvements to county roads. Bill number 1507, a bill to amend Bill numbers 1361, 1332, 1307, and 1267 to amend the appropriation for the mapping and evaluation and rehabilitation or replacement of county culverts. Bill number 1508, a bill to authorize the design, renovation, construction of offices and other work areas for for the Board of Elections for Talbot County, Maryland. Bill number 1509, a bill to amend Bill number 1484 to amend the appropriation for a capital project for the construction of emergency medical services stations. Bill number 1510, a bill to amend Bill numbers 1457, 1422, 1335, and 1317 to amend the appropriation for stormwater management and upgrades for Goldsboro Neck Road and Airport Road. Bill number 1511, a bill to authorize the acquisition/construction of a Talbot County Health Department facility. Bill number 1512, a bill to authorize a capital project for the purchase and installation of an emergency generator for the Martingham Sanitary District. Bill number 1513, a bill to authorize improvements to county park and recreation facilities. Bill number 1514, a bill to amend Bill number 1489 to amend the appropriation for the construction of a Talbot County Public Safety Center. Bill number 1515, a bill to authorize the resurfacing/repaving of the St. Michael's School parking lot. Bill number 1516, a bill to authorize the architectural and engineering fees associated with the renovation of the St. Michael's branch of the Talbot County Free Library. Bill number 1517, a bill to authorize the construction of a storage facility for the Talbot County Public Schools. Bill number 1518, a bill to amend Bill numbers 1082 and 1285 to amend the appropriation for improvements to the Tunis Mills Bridge. Bill number 1519, a bill to authorize countywide water quality improvement projects. Bill number 1520, a bill to authorize the construction and installation of a sunshade structure for an outdoor classroom and playground for the White Marsh Elementary School. Bill number 1521, a bill to authorize the construction and installation of a security fence for the White Marsh Elementary School.
Okay, good job, Madam Secretary. All righty. Good, deep breath. That was impressive. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open it up to the public hearing now. So we're going to open up for 3 minutes for individuals, and if you're representing an organization or something, I'll give you 5 minutes. So we'll go ahead and get started here with Lynn out here. I know she's going to say something. Come on, Lynn. Okay, so we'll start here. If anybody wants to come up, please come here on the left. And
Timer ready. I got the timer ready. I'm ready.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Would you like me to
yeah,
go around and-
exactly. Yep. Patrick, come on up here. Okay. Yep. So, okay. As of right now, I guess we'll go ahead and do we want to close the public hearing now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll close the public hearing right now.
And I will ask that we move bills 1511 and 1514 to a third reader so we could take action tonight.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
We got a motion and second, Madam Secretary, to move 1511 and 1514 to third reader.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Okay. So now, so we're going to move that to third reader. So we go ahead and
Read 1511.
yep, read. That's what I was getting ready to say. Read 1511. Yep.
Bill number 1511, a bill to authorize the
I ask that to be
acquisition.
considered a third reading.
It was only 8 words.
I know.
Madam Secretary.
And
Yep.
so I will make a motion that we go.
Sorry,
go
real quick, before you vote, we have Councilmember Pack's ballots, so you need a motion
Shoot,
Yeah.
that's
to
right. I'm sorry.
accept his ballots for each.
I'll make
That's
a
right.
motion.
Mr. Pack left left ballots for 1511 and 1514.
Right.
And I'll make a motion that we accept Mr. Pack's 2 ballots that he left for those 2 bills.
Okay. We got a motion and a second to accept.
I'll second that.
Right.
You knew
Mr.
I was
Pack's-
gonna do that.
Mr. Pack's bills 1511 and 1514, his votes.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passed.
Okay.
Okay, now,
Now we need to
Yeah.
make a motion to pass
we
each
need,
bill.
we need to go ahead and make a motion now to go ahead and vote on the bill,
Do you
correct?
need
Correct.
to
Yep.
read Bill 1514 in?
Yes, but I think
We're
we
gonna
need
do
to
them
take care of
separate.
Yeah.
1511
Okay.
Yeah.
first.
So I'll make a motion that we, 1511, we authorize the acquisition, construction of Talbot County's new health department facility.
Second?
Okay, we got a motion and a second to move to finalize 1511.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
And Mr.
Pack?
Pack's ballot?
And Mr. Pack votes yay.
Okay. Okay, good. So 1511 passed. Good. All right.
Bill number 1514, a bill to amend Bill number 1489 to amend the appropriation for the construction of a Talbot County Public Safety Center.
And I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the bill number 1514, a bill to amend the number 1489 to amend the appropriation for the construction of the Talbot County Public Safety Center.
Okay.
Second?
Okay. We got a motion and a second to go ahead and move forward with 1514. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack's ballot?
Mr. Pack votes yay.
Okay. Great.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
And
Thank you,
Ken, I think you're getting ready to retire, aren't you? Huh?
Well, I'm not sure if retire is the.
Or rest. Take a little rest.
So, Mr.
yes,
Council President,
yes.
before Ken
Yeah.
speaks,
Yes.
I join you in
Absolutely.
thanking Ken for his service.
Yes.
Ken is going to be moving on in the next week or so, and
Yeah.
he has been a faithful servant and done a good job over the time he's been with us, so
That's great, yep.
we'll miss him.
Yes, he has, yep. You helped us in a need here that we really, really appreciate you jumping in the saddle here in the last several months and really appreciate everything you've done for the county and the council, and it's been great. You've been great, and we can't thank you guys enough,
Yep.
okay?
Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Certainly, yeah, and thank you all
Yeah.
for your support through, it's been our department's been in a transitionary period for more than a year now.
Yeah.
And I hope that my contributions to the county serve as some basis for the next leadership to come in.
Great, that sounds
So
great.
I think we have a new finance director coming in. I think that's a skills and talent background, experience in county government that I think can, jump right in and lead this department. And can't thank the council enough for your support through this transitionary year, as well as support from Jessica and Clay and Angela. Just with her institutional knowledge in just all things Talbot County. And particularly over the last few months, where I was wearing multiple hats and Angela's experience and just knowledge and all the subject matter, including topics of today and everything else that we've talked to through the budgetary cycle. It's been invaluable. And so I thank you for your support, and it's been a pleasure to serve Talbot County, my community. So I thank you very much again.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay.
County manager.
Yeah, I think Mr. Clay Stamp is on the stage right now.
Well, thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Council President, members of the council.
Yeah.
Under County Manager Report, we don't have a whole lot this evening. We do have board and committee appointments that I would like to recommend for your consideration. The first is for the Animal Control Board, requesting the reappointment of Mary Newcomb to that board.
So moved?
Second. Okay, got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
The next will be requesting the reappointment of Reza Jafari and Debbie Walsworth to the Economic Development Commission.
So moved.
Second?
Got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio,
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
The next, requesting the reappointment of David Fisher to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
And finally, the important board, Weed Control Board, requesting the reappointment of John Swain to that board.
So moved.
Second?
John's going to be happy.
Yes.
Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
And finally, under announcements, I'd just like to announce the county offices will be closed Monday, July 4th.
Okay.
And with that, that completes the county manager report, Mr. Council President. Thank you.
What a great job. Thank you. Okay. Madam Secretary, did we have any public comments out there? Nothing.
Not tonight.
Okay, you're up, Lynn.
Ms. Milky? No.
Nothing today?
Nothing. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe Nick has something.
Yeah, Nick, you got something. Yeah. Yep. Spotlight on you. Okay. Mr. Lesher, we'll start off with you.
I have nothing for comment tonight.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you feel better too, and I appreciate you being with us tonight. Ms. Price.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have continued on with Mr. Sanderson of Mako doing the county road trips, and I think we're up to 14 or 15. Today we were in Montgomery County, and then we did virtual Baltimore County. But the other thing that we've been able to do was MML, which is the Maryland Municipal League, which is the sister to Mako. They invite leadership to come and attend their conference, which is also in Ocean City and similar, not quite as big, but similar to what Mako will be doing in August. And that was really a great opportunity to interact with a lot of the municipalities and see how they do that. They had some wonderful sessions and really great speakers, motivational speaker about learning not to complain, because it was just really has affected me, and I think a lot of other officials, and I think it's really great advice to he said facts are neutral, so I'm like, that is correct. But that was pretty cool, and there was a few of the receptions and whatnot, and again getting people back in person and able to interact with each other. So we'll also invite, they swore in their, they do things a little different, they swear in their new president at the summer conference. They had a small candidates forum. They had 4 governor candidates, and they had a forum. We'll do something similar for our major party candidates in August for Attorney General, Comptroller, and Governor at our conference. And so it was really great to go and do that. We also hit 4 counties down in the lower Eastern Shore counties while we were there too. So we killed several birds with one stone. So we're busy doing that. And tomorrow morning we start with our new initiatives. We'll probably have about 50 to get started with, and we need to whittle that down to 4 by September. So staying very, very busy, and keep you updated on all that.
Okay. Well, good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Mr. DeVillio over there.
All right, this is from Mary Kay Verardi. Verardi?
Rotary?
From Mary Kay. Through the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERAP, the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development is working collaboratively with the county governments and nonprofit agencies to help Maryland renters avoid eviction, maintain safe and stable housing, and move into new housing if they are currently homeless. Talbot County received $2,439,498 in the first round of ERAP funding, ERAP 1. Funding distribution started July 1st, 2021, and will end September 30th, 2022. Talbot County received a second round of ERAP funds, ERAP 2, in the amount of $1,678,514. These funds must be fully dispersed by December 31st, 2022. ERAP funding is used to provide prospective and arrear rental utility assistance, other housing-related costs, housing stability services, and administrative costs. For more information, contact the Neighborhood Service Center at nsctalbotmd.org or call 410-822-5015, or my favorite, visit 126 Port Street in Easton. I feel like I was reading a book to my children.
Yep, exactly. Okay, thank you, Mr. Velez.
That's it?
Yep, that it. Okay, any comments?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right, well, I guess the only thing I'm gonna say, we got a holiday weekend coming up. And, just wanna wish everybody a safe holiday and enjoy themselves and be safe. So, go ahead and wrap
All
things
right.
up for us.
The County Council's next meeting will be held Tuesday, July 12th, beginning at 6 p.m. The council will be convening an open session at 4:30 p.m. and then adjourning into closed session to discuss real estate, legal, and personnel matters as listed on the closing statement for closing that meeting. Therefore, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting and reconvene on Ken's sailing yacht?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. D'Avilla?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
That's good. Thanks a lot, everybody.